Good afternoon and welcome to the Bitter Knitters Podcast, TV Attack Edition. It is Sunday, November 4th, 2018. My name is Jacqueline and Justin, as always, is here with me.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good.
That's good. Good. TV this week? That's a
Some.
good intro. TV?
Some. I mean,
Let's
this is a TV podcast. I don't know. Let's talk about the radio.
Oh, I can't believe Hallmark Radio is now on Sirius.
Oh my God, yes. I got to find that station.
Oh, whenever I turn it on, it's like Tony Bennett and like just stuff I don't want to listen to. I don't like Christmas music to begin with, and I'm just angry that the country Christmas takes over one of my favorite channels for like 6 weeks a year, and it makes me angry.
What's your favorite channel?
It's the one that plays 80s and mostly 90s country.
Oh, okay.
And it becomes Country Christmas.
That's not Willie's Roadhouse, is it?
No, that's different. Oh. Roadhouse goes a little older.
Yeah, that's what I usually put on.
Yeah, that goes a little country. That goes a little older. So let's talk a little bit about TV news, and then we'll talk about some shows we watched this week. We didn't have a show last week, so I need to talk about the news from last week that made me upset, and that's Netflix is still on their canceling spree. Mm-hmm. And they're ending shows left and right. See You Later, Iron Fist, Orange is the New Black, Luke Cage. But now they announced that they are canceling after 2 seasons one of my favorite shows of the last 2 years, American Vandal.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah. Now, the thing with what I read was that the producers and the production company, they're going to try to shop it around. I don't know if they're going to get any bites, but I feel like there's at least another season or 2 in that.
I mean, it's like what we talked about when we watched the second season. I mean, I guess they could make another season. If they don't, I would watch it, of course, if they made another one, but I'm not going to cry over it. It's not like, everything sucks.
I want more. Yeah. Oh, yeah, everything sucks the TV show. That you're like, everything sucks.
Yeah, no, everything sucks the TV show. I felt like there was more story to tell, and I thought it was an interesting, different kind of story.
And with American Vandal, there could be, but it could also be over at the same time. And that's just the format of the show. Yeah. And if they go on much longer, it's kind of stretching the format a little bit. But
I mean, I guess he could always turn those 2 guys. I mean, they're basically about to be adults. They could just be making documentaries, right?
Yeah. Well, I feel like
they could go and solve that murder.
Yes. That was a great little gag at the beginning of season 2. I've always thought that now that they're both seniors, it's time maybe let them graduate and they'll do it in college.
I just figured they would be like, who did the senior prank, because maybe the prank went too far.
Oh, that would work too. And go back, give them an excuse to go back to their high school.
Yeah.
And see some of those same characters. Including that ginger from Austin Alley. But yeah, I could see like them going to the same college, being roomies together, and then they could even bring in one or 2 people from their old high school, and
because if they went to a local college,
even Bryan Cranston's daughter could be like, "Oh, I'm coming down here to hang out with you guys."
Yes,
that's a stretch.
That weird guy that was the turd burglar.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if people just didn't watch it because, I mean, that opening scene with all like the shit was pretty disgusting. If you had a weak stomach,
it was hard to watch.
If you have a weak stomach, I could see people being like, "This is too much for me," and not streaming anymore.
I've got a very weak stomach. And I had to look away a lot of it and cringed a lot. I think I watched it on my bed, cringed on my bed, but I knew what the show was, so I kept watching. But yeah, if I wasn't familiar with what the show was, and that's how the show started out, I don't know. That could be a good point. Because
that topic just might have turned people right off. Yeah.
But I think the other problem is that Netflix has so many things going on now, is that it's hard to advertise and hard to push their shows and hard, even on the front page, I feel like when a show launches, it's hard for me to find the show I'm looking for.
Yeah, because even when American Vandal launched, now this is a show I watched on my Netflix account, so it wasn't like when I used my old account or borrowed account, so it's my Netflix account. And when that premiered, it didn't show up in my recommended, it didn't show up in new, it didn't get advertised. And I'm thinking like, this is a show I watched.
Yeah.
That should automatically be in my top 5 recommended.
100%.
If you on the day of launch, yeah.
You have to go and search
Yeah.
and have to find something that way.
That might have been people just didn't even realize it was there because, like I said, and it never showed up in my recommendeds ever.
Yeah, but I will still have the Turd Burglar as my Netflix profile.
I have it too. And that same day you told me about that, I went and got that. So.
It's just sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. Now they're ending a lot of their Marvel shows. The numbers for Daredevil season 3 apparently are a lot further down than the last.
But are they making
seasons.
like a Justice League type show or something with all those Marvel people?
Well, they made the Defenders.
Okay.
But that came out about a year ago, and it didn't really make much of a splash. But now what they're doing is, I feel like those are starting to wrap up, and right now, even though Disney doesn't have a lot to do with those shows, their focus now is on their streaming service coming late next year.
Yeah.
What's scary is in like 8 weeks, we'll have to be like coming this year.
Oh my gosh, that's
Which
true.
is scary.
Which is exciting because coming this year, 2019, is finally the final season of Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
That's what I'm jonesing for.
The rumor is April, but apparently we should be finding out the premiere date soon because it looks like they're just now starting the publicity run. They were on the cover of Entertainment Weekly this week.
Yes.
And the writer was on the scene of some episodes filming, and there's articles coming out now. So they're now starting the publicity push. So my guess is soon, I would say by the end of the year.
The first 2 seasons were April. Maybe the first 3 seasons were April anyway. So
yeah, they were kind of end of April or end of March, beginning of April. Yeah, somewhere around there. Because I remember they would also be affected by Memorial Day.
Right.
Or
they would take that weekend
Memorial
off.
Day, yeah.
Yeah, Memorial Day.
But then later I got to the point that whenever it was a holiday weekend, they just went ahead and showed an episode because they knew people would watch.
Yeah, you're not going to lose viewers. Even people who go away are going to DVR it and watch it or pirate it, as I do.
Well, now I watch everything on HBO now, and that's the easiest way to watch things. And so it doesn't really matter when something airs on TV. There's so many ways to watch it now that you're going to get the audience. And I think you'll get a larger people viewing it later than necessarily viewing it live. Even though Game of Thrones is also, I feel like, has kind of turned into an appointment television show too.
Yeah,
where you have to watch it when it airs because you don't want to be left behind.
You don't want to be spoiled. Like you don't want to go onto Twitter or Facebook and see those spoilers.
I said soiled, so I'm still thinking of the Turd Burglar.
I didn't even hear you say soiled.
I was like, oh crap. Oh my god, I keep doing it.
The poop puns are just a-flowing.
So,
one might say verbal diarrhea. Haha. Mine aren't as good as your natural occurring ones.
I suffer that every day. So Disney's now planning on all these streaming shows, especially Marvel shows. A couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago at this point, there were rumors that they were thinking of making a Loki limited series or a Scarlet Witch limited series.
With the actual actors from the movies or somebody else?
The rumor would be with the actual actors, yes. But again, Elizabeth Olsen is coming straight from a Facebook show.
Yeah. So I could see her doing it, but I mean, would Hiddleston really? I mean, I guess if his contract said he had to. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's done TV.
But I feel like I've been hearing rumors that he hates doing this Marvel movie and playing Loki and he wants to die. The character.
Well, and in Infinity War, he kind of sort of did, but I feel like Loki can never officially die.
No.
But a paycheck's a paycheck, and they'll give him the money he needs if they can get the names that they want. Because I believe his original contract at this point is up.
Because what other, I mean, I'm trying to think of other movies he's been in. I know, like you said, Night Manager, but what else has he been doing?
He was in that horrible Hank Williams movie with Elizabeth Olsen. I saw the light. No. But yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
And apparently it was bad.
I forgot that even existed.
Yeah, it was bad. So,
yeah, so put on your Loki helmet, buddy, because that's where you're making your money.
Yeah, at this point, do it because that's where you're going to get your paycheck. And the rumor right now is, I've heard it reported different ways. I believe it's going to be a single series featuring both Falcon and Winter Soldier. Some people have reported their separate series, a Falcon series and a Winter Soldier series. I think it's going to be a together series.
Oh, I hate Falcon. He's so boring.
He is boring, which is why he cannot carry his own show. And I'm not a huge Bucky fan either.
I don't love him. I just find in the couple movies I've seen him in, he's been more interesting than most of the characters.
Yeah, but here's what I think what we're going to
I don't
see
know if I'd
in
want to
this.
watch a whole series of him though. Yeah.
Yeah, but here's what I think it's going to be. And again, this is just speculation on my point, using contracts in the MCU, using comic book knowledge and past stories. So this is not a spoiler, it's just speculation. That I do think by the end of Infinity War Part 2, whatever it's going to be called, they need to give us the title for that too. We don't even know the title for that yet.
Infinity Resurrection.
I do think that, yeah, it might be. It might be, because that's been used in comics too. And
has it really?
Well, in a way, not here and there in a couple obscure storylines, but they are kind of in reference to like the Infinity Stones and the cosmic stuff like that. So that's not that far off. But I do think that Steve Rogers, Captain America, will be taken off the playing field by the end of the next.
Oh, Avengers. Yeah, because I know this is not a spoiler. I think everybody who knows comics knows that he died in the comics, right?
He died in the comics in a very famous.
Even I know that, and I don't read comics. So.
And Chris Evans, and he's back. But they always come back. But the thing is Chris Evans been one of the most vocals
about not wanting to do it anymore.
Not wanting to do it, wanting to do other things, wanting to direct, wanting to do this. And so I strongly believe that if his character doesn't die, his character will either retire or become old again. I just don't think that he's going to be Captain America again. So what I think this series is going to be, I think it's going to be kind of Falcon and Winter Soldier coming to terms with Steve no longer being around, and them trying to not really compete, but coming up with who's going to carry on the Captain America mantle.
That makes sense.
In the comics, each of these characters both took over as Captain America at one point or another in the period of time after Captain America died, like 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Bucky took over right away, and then just in the last few years, Falcon was the Captain America.
Oh, he's so
yeah. So that's kind of my thinking, is it's going to be kind of like a who will wield the shield type of show.
Okay.
And so that, again, that's just speculation, but I feel like that's pretty much the best way to make those two characters work, and to make those characters work together too, because those are kind of, I mean, the only thing they really have in common is, oh yeah, they're both friends with Cap.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Well, I mean, like for Chris Evans, you can only eat so much chicken breast and work out 6 hours a day, unless your name is like Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Like life gets boring.
No, 100%. So he's been doing that for over 10 years now, almost 10 years. And so I don't blame him. He's got other things he wants to do with his life. There's only so long that you can do the same job over and over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So several weeks ago, it was announced that Emma Roberts was joining a Netflix figure skating drama called Spinning Out. That sounds awful. But apparently she dropped out, and they're looking at Lily Collins as possibly replacing her. I'm done. That just, no.
I watched her anorexic movie on Netflix, Lily Collins, and she's a decent actress, but there's just nothing there. She's like a mayonnaise sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, it's just boring.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't really want a figure skating drama. That doesn't really appeal to.
Yeah.
I don't know. But apparently it's looking at like a 10-episode series on Netflix. Emma Roberts dropped off. Could be Lily Collins. I feel like there's other people.
I mean, if they're going to do it, they better go like whole hog and do it like Insatiable. Like, I don't want to watch like, oh, let's all be friends while we're figure skating. I want to see knee smacking with bras, like, Tanya and Nancy. I want to see like dirt.
You never know. It could be.
That's what I want. Honestly, I won't watch if it's not overly dramatic, because honestly, I watch figure skating 4 times or every 4 years, and that's as much as I can really take.
As much as you want. I haven't even watched I, Tanya yet.
Me either. I watched the first 20 minutes.
Yeah. I haven't even gone that far yet. So Kat Dennings apparently is heading to Hulu in a comedy called Dollface.
Oh.
Yeah. She's going to be a young woman who, after getting dumped by her longtime boyfriend, must deal with her own imagination in order to literally and metaphorically re-enter the world of women and rekindle the female friendships she left behind.
That makes it sound awful.
That does sound awful, doesn't it?
That makes it sound like I just want to puke. Like, no. I like her, so I know it'll be like sarcastic-y, but
I hope so, but that description is not good.
no. Like, it sounds like a tampon commercial.
It is not good. And we talked about this before we started the show off air, but in November, Liev Schreiber, I don't even know how to say his name, Liev Schreiber is going to be
Yes, I
hosting
think, yeah.
SNL for the very first time, and it'll be interesting. I feel like dramatic actors usually don't do all that great when it comes to the comedy of SNL.
Sometimes you get surprised. Look how good. I mean, I know he was on Girls, but Adam Driver has been pretty good
Adam Driver has been
both
a good
times.
host. Yes, yes, and
It's
that's
really
true.
about the if you're willing to go for it. Like that's the thing. Like sometimes these when you bring on sports people, especially, I find they're too in their own rep. And as much as I dislike him, Tom Brady went for it.
And the
You
other
know what
one
I
that I
mean?
feel like went for it was Derek Jeter.
Yeah. So like, you got to go for it. Even if you think you're going to look like an idiot, you have to go for it because the
Yeah.
laughs are worth it in the run.
And I feel like with the athletes and with the dramatic actors, you're right. Sometimes they're afraid to go out of their comfort and it just
or
comes
just to
across
look
as stiff
foolish.
and boring. Yeah. So hopefully maybe there's a comedic side to him. I'm not familiar
you
with.
Must think. I mean, especially with actors. I mean, you go to these drama classes where you got to be a tree or you got a piece of cardboard in the wind. So like they make you do all these ridiculous things. You must be used to doing stuff like that.
True. You just made me think of The Greatest Showman when you said you have to be a tree.
The Greatest Tree and The Greatest Showman and The Greatest Movie.
Yes. I saw HBO added the sing-along version in the last
week too. Amazing.
I have not clicked play yet, but I might. Jonah Hill hosted last night. Did you watch any of?
I saw up until the end of Weekend Update.
See, when I went to go watch it on Hulu today, they didn't post the whole episodes. They only had each individual skit, and they weren't in order. So I have no idea.
What you've seen.
I have no idea what I watched them all, but I have no idea what order. So did you see?
Let me think. Okay, go ahead. Say it.
Because there was one that made me laugh so hard. The Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
No, I didn't see that one yet.
Let's just say 80 is such a great physical actress.
Teacher Falls.
Oh,
that's so bad. And I saw the Marry Me Weather Lady.
Oh yeah,
that was kind of dumb funny.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I did like at the end when all of a sudden they're singing Pocahontas and Leslie Jones is like, and we'll be back with the story about looking for a hit and run woman. And it's a lot of Cecily this week. I was noticing
and
this
then the
week
commercial about voting was the other one I saw.
Which is good too.
So I think that's the only ones I saw.
And I feel like that's kind of how I've been feeling about this week here in America. So I feel like that captured it pretty well.
Yeah, I do think that captured the climate.
I also saw an article on Politico this morning I was reading, which talking about anxiety. It was like it pretty much captured what I felt like the last couple of weeks perfectly.
I was driving. I dropped my son off at work this morning. I was driving home and I was behind a car with a New York license plate. And I saw their bumper sticker and I'm like, okay, what's this saying? I'm looking at it. It says, vote for any functioning adult 2020. Oh. I'm like, okay.
I hope that means that there's someone who definitely is not a fully functioning
adult. Well, I think we all know who that is.
Oh my God. But yeah, so you saw the whole Pete Davidson thing?
Yeah.
I knew this morning there was going to be people like being upset about.
I thought he did it respectfully.
Well, it wasn't about the Ariana. It was about the guy with the eye patch.
Yeah. Well, what? No, not that one. At the end when he says she's a nice girl and
yeah, but remember before that he was making fun of the Republican candidates.
Yeah.
And he made fun of the eye patch guy.
Yeah.
People are offended about that.
Oh. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. They're
like I'm sorry, like if you were just like, had no eye and you got a fake eye or you wore a bandage over it. Like, I mean, you're wearing an eye patch and in 2018 when people see someone in an eye patch, sorry, I'm not trying to be rude, but come on.
Yeah. As soon as they did that, like I didn't have any issues with it, but I'm like, oh, I know that there's
you know who wears an eye patch? Evil people. Except for Patch from Days of Our Lives. Magda from Jane the Virgin.
Yeah.
Eye patch.
Yes.
Eye patch. Patchy from SpongeBob SquarePants.
Eye
Eye
patch.
patch.
Evil.
Not really evil, but kind of annoying. Yeah, I mean, come on.
But yeah, I just
But they were okay with your Republican senator being called a Bruce Willis whittled from a penis. They were okay with that.
I thought that was funny.
That was hysterical. But my point is you can't
Yeah,
pick and
you
choose.
can't pick and choose. The only thing I saw them having issues with was the eye patch guy because he's a war hero.
They weren't upset when he did the Cuomo joke and said at the end, he's there at breakfast and he calls you a queer. Like,
see, here's
that
the
wasn't
thing:
offensive.
is that he not only did the Republicans, they're like, oh shit, might be pissed at this, so they threw in the Democratic guy and they threw in Pete Davidson making fun of himself too.
Yeah.
So, but they don't talk about any of that. They're just like, oh my god, he attacks this guy with an eye patch
Because he's got a handicap. Like, you know what I mean? Like, look, he didn't attack him because he has a handicap. That's the thing. He didn't say, oh, this is a blind motherfucker and nobody cares about him. Mike Pence's brother was attacked. You can't have it both ways. If you want to be treated equally, you're up for grabs too.
This is the face he has when he saw the This Is Us episode.
But they weren't offended when 45 made fun of the handicapped reporter.
Of course not. Of
for
course
his
not.
handicap.
Of course not.
Like, the hypocrisy drives me crazy. Okay.
Well, now we have. Did you hear about the agriculture secretary here in? Well, I guess the national one, but in Florida, when he's campaigning for the Republican candidate, he's like, and he's going up against a person who could be the first black governor of Florida. And he's like, you need to get out and vote. It's cotton picking important.
This is the same guy who used the term like barrel of monkeys or something.
Well,
too, right?
no. This wasn't the candidate who said it. This was somebody who was stumping for him. The agriculture secretary. I believe the nation's agriculture secretary was saying it's cotton picking important. And you're right. The candidate is the one that the day after the primary, he was like, I don't want this guy monkeying up the state.
That's right. It was monkey. Yeah, this is not by accident, people.
No.
I don't regularly use the term cotton picking.
No.
Maybe because he's in agriculture, he might use it more. I don't know, but
But you're in the South. You know what you're saying.
You know what? Yeah, the reference and the outrage that's going to come with that.
Yeah. They're going to win. They're all going to win. I am a walking version of the SNL skit right now. Did you see the pug sketch yet?
No.
Spoiler alert, 80 gets to sing a little tiny song at the end.
Oh, love 80.
But the Huckabee Sanders one was my favorite. I was laughing at it so hard just because I liked she's just a good physical comedian.
I love her.
Yeah, very good physical comedian. So, Jonah was kind of boring though. He didn't really do much.
Yeah, he's not. I don't know. I don't find him that charismatic or dynamic.
No.
I just feel like he plays the same person in all his roles.
Mm-hmm. And they put him in the background a lot this time too, which I did like the fact that he was wearing a green shirt, so he was floating head.
That was funny.
Let's go ahead and talk about shows that started that were on this week, and we are on episode 9 of The Purge.
The Purge.
There's 10 episodes. We got 1 episode left. And I feel like out of anything I watched this week, which granted, I guess wasn't a whole lot, but everything I watched this week, this gave me my holy crap, did they go there moment this week.
That was a good, exciting episode. Because what I liked about it, so we have all our story people all together.
Except Miguel.
Except for Miguel, because, he's trying to get back to his sister Penelope again with Pete the Cop. But yeah, you have them all together and we find out why they've been brought together. And the guy, I don't know his name. I just call him Beecher from Oz because that's who he was when I first saw him. Joe. This guy's the most, he should be an incel. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We all know who these incel guys are. They're these petty guys who can't get laid and they shoot up yoga studios and run down innocent people on the street with vans.
He is like the Purge World version of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was, he wants to kill Jane, purge Jane because she left a bad date she was on with him, and he was saying racist comments and misogynist comments, and she'd had enough. She gave him plenty of chances, more than I would have.
Yeah.
And that's the reason he wants to purge her.
And all these people is that they've done something to him or something against him, something that he doesn't
like
like.
ruin his life.
To ruin his life in different
ways. The only
ways.
one I agreed with was well, I mean, we don't really know the couple's story yet. Apparently they owe them money, and people get mad when it comes to money. But the bully, I kind of understand why people would want to kill their high school bully.
Yeah. Oh,
Not saying you should, but
No.
I understand why they would.
But he gives them a chance to kind of come clean, kind of say their piece, apologize to him, and he's like, "Oh, if it's a good argument, I'll let you go." But no, that's not going to be the case. He's going to murder them all.
Yeah,
he's going to murder them all.
Jane did not stand for that. She's like, "Screw you! I'm not admitting my guilt because I'm not guilty."
And I loved it. I was 189% with Jane this episode. She was 110%. Correct. So they're all together. Then he tried
to like purge shame her because she purged her boss.
Mm-hmm. Which I still was like, it's illegal.
I mean, just because she purged somebody doesn't make her a bad person, I guess. I mean, her boss was horrible.
Horrible.
Sorry, he's a Baldwin.
Yeah. Yes. That's when you know you've got an issue.
First purge, all Baldwin's gone. Except for the babies, because they're babies.
What I thought was kind of genius of the show, though, is that throughout the whole series, we're seeing this guy, and we're seeing him come to the rescue of people. Exactly. We're seeing him come to the rescue of people. Granted, it's kind of weird he's listening to this like pro-purge radio message.
But we thought maybe he was rejecting that. Remember, we talked about that.
Yeah. Every time we would see him at the end of an episode, someone would be attacked. He'd come in, he'd save that person, and then he would take them away somewhere. So we're like, oh my God, this is a good guy. This is a guy who's out to fight like the
vigilante.
A vigilante to save the night. And then we even got the episode where we started learning more about him.
Yeah.
We learned that he was kind of down on his luck and we saw that the factory he worked at was closed, and there was this lady who he kind of had a fancying to, who kind of delivered the message that everyone was laid off, and he blamed her. So she's part of that group who is who he's purging and putting on trial. But what was crazy is still at the same time, nothing in that episode did we make him think like he's an awful guy and he's a bad guy. And we thought he was off to Jane's rescue. And then it wasn't until like we see them all back in the truck at the end of last week's episode with their mouth taped up. We're like, what is going on here? And it's not what it seems. And then everything gets pushed on its side this week when we learn he is an awful person.
I love my other favorite part of it was when he said, I've been listening, and he said the name of the guy's show, but it's basically like saying Alex Jones or Newt Gingrich or somebody, and everybody was like, oh my God. I've been watching Fox News. It's just like, oh my God.
Oh God, Laura Ingraham. Oh God.
Yeah, and he wants to purge Penelope because she didn't say thank you for holding a door. Like, is he Canadian? What the hell? Like, come on.
That was such a weak reason. But
he's such a petty loser.
What I thought was interesting, though, is like they never told us he wasn't a great person.
No.
We just kind of assumed he was an okay, down on his luck guy. Yeah. But like kind of looking back at everything, they're like, they never really said he was a good guy.
we took him at face value. We took him at face value. Yeah. And we didn't see his whole story, so we just saw the good parts, right? We thought, oh, he's a good guy. Yeah.
He was just down on his luck, and so now he's taking that down on his luck and he's helping people out on Purge Night.
Yeah.
Wrong.
100% wrong. We would be purged immediately.
I have to say, though, that was brilliant of the showrunners to kind of flip that on its side and to be like, look, you guys thought this guy? Nope.
And we had the big death. Like, I mean, she's got to be dead. I heard crunching.
Yes. So we got Jane doing her big speech. And I think that was kind of Jane's moment of kind of coming full circle and kind of redemption, realizing what she did in calling the hit, even though it was a Baldwin, was wrong. And I think that was like her big character moment. And how does she pay for her big character moment? Joe kills her. There was crunching.
Yeah. Well, it's almost kind of like, like she did a purge. She did a bad thing. And when you do bad things, you face the punishment.
Yeah.
And her death was, the ultimate punishment.
But I don't think no, 100%. And even though she was involved with that purge of the Baldwin, I don't think she should have been punished for that date.
No.
It was he was making racist comments to her.
No, and you know what? I don't even think she should be punished for the purging of the Baldwin. You
Oh,
know
go
me,
ahead.
I always hope against hope. I still believe Charlie's alive on Lost. I'll hope she'll pop up at the end. Not able to talk because her larynx is broken, but she's still alive.
Yeah, and then she can
That's my
just hang
hope.
out with her mom at the hospital for the rest of her life.
Yes.
And that nurse from The Resident.
Yes.
Oh, is now she gonna get her job?
Oh,
The nurse?
maybe.
Oh, we need a Purge season 2. But what else I was gonna say was oh, I lost my
I'm sorry.
no, you're good. You're good. I just thought that it was interesting. And then, so what we're left with is we're left with Penelope, we're left with the couple, and we're left with the lady who fired everybody, who was delivering the message. And they're the only ones left in the cage. And I thought it was interesting because I know at one point I was reading a recap and they're like, how did he know where Jane was? Like, that makes absolutely no sense.
Remember we saw the picture and he zoomed in on a map and stuff.
Yeah,
and we're like, whoa.
I was like, how does he know that? Like, who does he know who she is? It ended up being that he had this like spray that he could spray on people and they wouldn't be able to notice it and it'd be lasting for like weeks.
And he could like track it. It was like
and I think that's when he saw and tracked Penelope. Is I think he was there tracking the couple.
The couple, yeah.
Yeah, and then Penelope just happened to be there and she did that. Oh, I know what I was going to say. And he also was even more offended by the fact that not only that she walked out of the date, but she paid for his bill.
She paid. She like you basically cut off his balls at that point.
Yeah. I think that's I think you made a really good comparison though about him being kind of like an incel type.
Yeah. I also loved that we got that little bit of Pete the Cop story about how on like, the Blue Friday they called it, and how he went out there and stopped, bad cops from purging and stuff, and how that bought him a lot of kind of respect in the community.
Yeah, and I think that's another interesting character is because when we meet him,
could do in Purge season 2, we could do Pete the Cop, 10 years ago or whenever Blue Friday happened.
Yeah, or just Pete the Cop next year. I like Pete the Cop.
I like
Pete unless the Cop too. They're gonna freaking flip everything over again. Yeah,
I'm worried for Pete the Cop.
I don't know if he'll make it to the end of next week's episode.
I'm worried too, and that's the thing we have to worry because remember, Joe said that he has the high school they're in all triggered out and booby trapped. The good thing is you got two. Miguel had been to war and he knows to look for booby traps and stuff. Yeah,
but they went out of their way to show that the high school was trapped, and by murdering that one woman who tried to that was a vicious scene. That was a good scene. To make it go out of their way to be like, look, these are booby trapped and here's these two people coming to the rescue. That I thought that was and then Pete the Cop and Miguel found his home with his dad away in the bed. Then they found that whole like board where he had this plan the whole time.
Yeah, when Miguel's like, that's why he wants to kill my sister, and you're like, why? What is it?
I know.
Like, and I'm glad we actually found what happened.
Yeah. That's for dumb. Like he's
and the other best part of the episode was that we didn't have any Lila.
Well, I don't think we have to worry about having any more Lila.
Yeah, she did.
But yeah, it'll be interesting. So we got the one episode left. So I think we're gonna get Miguel and Pete the Cop, or at least Miguel to the rescue. Sorry, Pete the Cop in the booby trap high school.
I think though that I don't think that Penelope's going down without a fight. She might rescue herself.
Yeah, that's true.
I think she's got a will to live now that she didn't obviously have in the first half of the
I feel like that's a good story beat. I can kind of definitely see them going like that, as now she's got a reason
maybe she saves Miguel.
And maybe Twig comes and tries to kill her.
Oh, God. Yikes. No, Twig, no.
I will say it was weird seeing him in the Halloween movie.
Oh, that's right. He's in that.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, he's there. Yeah.
So one more episode, and it's been renewed for season 2, right?
I haven't heard.
Oh, okay.
The only Purge news I've heard the last couple weeks is apparently the next movie might be the last one.
Oh, well, I mean,
Well, they've gone through, I think, 4 movies now. This will be the 5th. They got the TV show. Yeah. Hopefully. I don't know who's all watching it.
Yeah.
Besides us.
Us 3. My sister Patty watches, and
right.
Jeremy watches 4.
Yes. But it's been a solid show. I really liked it.
It's been so good.
Going into it, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I think they went the right angle with the show.
And I just love that you know, like a lot of times things lose their feeling, but I feel like this feels the same as watching a movie.
It is very cinematic,
Yeah.
and it's definitely a lot more. They get to go into a lot more detail because you
Yeah.
get the 10-40 minute
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
And what I think is interesting is the whole time you've got this whole group of stories that were seemingly unrelated, but in the end they are related due to their connection
Yeah.
to one person who
Yeah.
ends up being the villain of the piece, which
That was
I
so
thought
good.
was really good storytelling. So yeah, I got kudos to the show. So hopefully it'll be interesting to see, is anyone going to survive next week?
I think so. I think you're going to have the pregnant lady alive. I don't think
Yeah,
David is going to live, the husband. I think Penelope will be alive. And I just have a feeling Miguel is going to live just because they lost their parents in the original. I don't
that's
think they're going to
true.
be sacrifices
You're
this
right
time.
with the husband. I
I
think
think
he's a
he's
goner.
done too much bad things that he won't be considered pure enough to survive the
Yeah.
purge.
I'm kind of going left. I'm kind of iffy with Miguel. I feel like
I could
I
see
don't
him dying.
know.
I just don't want him to because,
I
like I
don't
said,
want
I
him
think
to
because his
either.
parents died, I think that he'll get to live.
I feel like you're right though. You're right with the pregnant lady, Jenna, right?
Jenna,
Jenna
that's her
and
name.
Penelope,
Yeah.
I think, are for sure gonna live, and the husband's gonna die. I'm and
Penelope
the other
can't
lady's
die
father.
after everything Miguel has done to
No,
keep her
no,
alive.
Penelope is not gonna die. So those two are gonna be, and they're not gonna kill the pregnant lady. So those two are gonna live for sure. I'm not sure about Miguel. I mean, the
Well,
happy
I'm
ending
hoping.
is Miguel
Yeah.
survives, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want to see Miguel and Penelope just kind of have a happy
I
reunion
think they
ending.
deserve it. Can you imagine? Like, what's her point of living? Now, think about it. She
Yeah.
was ready to go into the afterlife to be with her parents.
Oh no, that
If
would be
he
yeah,
dies, what's the point?
that's true.
But I mean, he could. It could end completely depressing, and that would be amazing too.
Yeah, I like depressing endings.
I do. Sometimes it works. When it works and it works, I like it, and I think that would work too.
I feel like they could make a sad ending work
Yeah.
in The Purge. I mean, The Purge is not a happy time. It's not a happy place.
Oh, Sister Patty says she wants the incel guy to survive and then have Penelope come back next purge and take him out. Ooh, she'd be like all like
Oh,
freaking Sarah Connored up next season.
yeah. Or like the
Yeah.
next top model, assassin girl who got
Yes,
killed by
the
Baldwin.
assassin girl. She didn't last very long.
No, she did not last very long. I
She's
think
still
she
on
got
the Empire show, so she's doing
that's
okay.
good. That's good. I think she had like a minute of showtime.
Yeah.
Screen time. Oh, that'd be interesting too. Oh my God, imagine if Joe survives.
I mean, he could. That could be the ultimate horrible ending. Joe gets to walk out in the light of day to the klaxons and be like, F you, bitches.
And the whole like theme song playing behind him. I can't do that song very well. But yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how that ends. For a couple minutes, I just want to talk about a quick TV show that I know you haven't gotten a chance to watch yet, but I just want to throw it out in my initial feelings, and that's Bodyguard.
Yeah, I think Sister Patty watched that. So
oh, nice.
She might have some comments I can chime in.
Nice. So Bodyguard is a show that premiered back in the summer on BBC, but Netflix picked up the international rights for everywhere except the UK, Ireland, and China, I believe. And so now they're calling it a Netflix original, which why not? You might as well. And it is a 6-episode series. So not a long series, hour-long episodes. And it stars Rob Stark from Game of Thrones.
Richard
Madden, Rob Stark. And he, even though he looks like the brother of Rami Malek from Bohemian Rhapsody and Mr. Robot and The War at Home with Michael Rappaport, he was out in Afghanistan and he had a hard time there and he went through a lot there. And he kind of blames the government for kind of messing up his life and messing up with the time at war that he had there. And yet he works for like the Security Council with the government, and he's kind of like a cop or sergeant. I'm not quite sure what his job is, but he does something at the beginning of the episode of the series that gets him a promotion where he has to become the bodyguard or the guard of this. I think they call her the Home Secretary. She's kind of in charge of like immigration and kind of in charge of other things. But they're having all these terrorist threats. So she's kind of radical and she wants like all these like this thing. I forget what the code name they call it, but it'd be a sort of legislation that would like take away people's rights and privacy for the government to be able to kind of keep things safe, quote unquote.
Kind of like the ultimate Patriot Act?
Stuff like that. Yeah. Similar to that. Like I said, they're all British, so I have a hard time understanding. No, that's not true. The only thing is like they always say ma'am, but they say it like mom. And so like they're like mom. And I'm like, who's a mom? I'm so confused.
His mom works there?
And like he literally said it 80 times in like a 2-minute scene when he's talking to his boss when she's promoting him. And like I'm glad I have the captions on because I'd be confused. And at the same time, he's got 2 young kids. He's estranged from his wife. They're like possibly talking about divorce. But his main job now is to protect this politician who he feels like has ideas that could be dangerous to the people, dangerous to the country. And at the same time, he kind of blames the country for the shit he went through when he was in Afghanistan, in the war and all that stuff. And so he's kind of torn.
So he's torn between doing his duty and doing the right thing for his country.
Yes. Okay. Yes. And it's kind of interesting. I'm 2 episodes in. There's 6 episodes. I will say by the end of the 2nd episode, I think things progress pretty fast, but that's because they've only got 6 episodes.
Yeah. Sister Patty says that they should have had 1 extra episode to flesh out the relationships, like between him and his war buddy, and more of his PTSD stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a valid. Yeah, I feel like that's valid critique. Is I feel like there should have been more between the 2 of them. I feel like I think more between him and the Home Secretary who he's guarding, because I feel like things progress really fast. Yeah. And you're like, whoa, like, can we slow? Like, I'm usually one who likes fast pace, and I know that they only had 6 episodes to get everything in. And I know a couple of the upcoming story beats because I saw articles back when it originally happened. So I know that they don't have a whole lot of time to get everything in. And so I can see why they went fast, but I do think it was a little bit fast.
Yeah. And she says, I have not seen this. The interview with the terrorist could have been longer. I guess she wanted more terrorist interviewing.
Oh, I don't know if I know that yet.
Oh, oops.
Oh, no, that's fine. That doesn't spoil anything.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because you only watched the first 2, right?
I'm only 2 episodes in.
Okay. Yeah, she's finished it, I believe.
Nice.
Stop giving out spoilers, Sister Patty.
No, that wasn't spoilerish.
No, she just did another one I won't say yet.
Oh, is it the one I know a spoiler?
An attempted gory scene?
Well, there was a pretty bloody scene in episode 2. There was a very tense scene. It was
Is this
very well
scene
done.
2, Patty? Is this in episode 2? I guess there's an attempted assassination. Spoiler.
Yes, that was in episode 2. And it kind of came out of nowhere. A lot of blood. It was a very good,
she says it's really gory.
Very cool scene. Very cool scene.
Okay.
And that, and like I said, everything kind of goes pretty fast paced. Episode 1's kind of slow, but I feel like by episode 2, a lot happens.
It's moving along.
Yeah, it's a good show, and I definitely will watch the rest. I have 4 episodes left. There's 6 total. But it's good. And like I said, it looks like from what I've seen when it originally aired in England that it goes a couple interesting places. Okay, well, I'll put it on my list. I'm trying to stay spoiler free.
Okay. I'm glad we didn't spoil you.
Well, no, I meant with you trying to stay spoiler free.
Yeah.
I'm already spoiled in a couple things.
Oh, okay.
I spoiled myself before I even knew what the show was. I'm like, what's Bodyguard? Is this based on Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner?
Amazing.
I didn't know what it was. So we got to do our weekly Survivor talk.
Well, yeah, we still have 15 minutes because we started late, so we're not done.
That's true. So we got plenty of time.
Yeah, lots of time.
Perfect. So we got Survivor, and Survivor, this was the last episode before the merge, which is going to happen next week. And last week, what we weren't able to talk about because we weren't on is the one tribe that has Mike White on it, and Nick, and Lyrsa, and
Angelina and
Natalie. They lost. They are, when you look at the 3 tribes, though, they're by far the weakest on paper.
And mentally weakest. Yeah,
they're the weakest on paper, and so they went home, and obviously Natalie comes up with the plan because Angelina's cold, and Angelina wants someone's jacket.
Well, Angelina came up with it. She said, "I want that jacket."
Yeah, she wanted jackets because she's cold.
because she didn't bring a jacket. It rains every
And so they
freaking
try to get
minute there.
jackets from yeah, from both Lyrsa and both Nick. They're like, whoever we're going to voting home will get a jacket, all
Yeah.
that, whatever. But it ended up being that they had another plan and they voted Natalie out, which made me sad because she was good TV.
She's entertaining.
She was so entertaining. And apparently the episode did not explain it until the previously
It's kind of
on.
what we thought. Yeah.
And it was what we thought, where Angelina knew the plan was to vote out Natalie, but she put her vote for Lyrsa because she wanted Natalie's jacket. So
And
when
she gave
Natalie,
her, can I give Natalie a hug before she leaves?
oh yeah, she's like, oh, hug me, Natalie. Oh, Natalie, can I have your jacket? And Natalie just stares her down.
Natalie, your jacket,
Yeah.
Natalie. Natalie. She's still calling Natalie.
Yeah. And then in her goodbye interview, Natalie's wearing her jacket.
Yeah.
Which I thought
And
was an
even when
amazing
she
move.
gave the vote, she's like, this is just so I can try to get your jacket, Natalie.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, and even Natalie's like, I think she knew, so I wasn't giving her my jacket. And then we saw previously on, which was weird. On the previously on, they showed a scene we didn't even see.
No.
Which was Angelina voting for Natalie.
Yeah.
Where she exactly said that.
Yeah.
And so then this tribe is definitely beaten down. Not that Natalie was much strength for them, but they're definitely still the weakest tribe. And so it came to the immunity challenge, and they had to carry this heavy thing with water in it on a balance
with like
beam?
a hollowed out circle inside, and they had to not just on balance beams. It was like 3 level of balance beams. So somebody had to be up high, somebody had to be low, someone was in the middle, and you had to keep it level or all your water spilt out, right? So it's hard to keep things level when you're walking on level ground, right?
Yeah,
because people are different heights.
Yes.
You know, if you've ever carried a canoe, right?
Yes.
You know, all the weight goes to the shortest person. So I can imagine being like Lyrsa, who's probably was the shortest at that point, carrying a lot of the weight. And she wasn't even the one that was screwing up that challenge. I mean, I'm not a Lyrsa fan at all. I'm kind of glad she's gone too. But Mike and Angelina were the ones giving up.
Yeah.
And dropping it and not being able to do it.
I would have been so frustrated if I was Nick.
Me too. I feel bad for Nick.
They pretty much gave up. It was never a question of which team was going to lose that challenge.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was obvious. And so,
but they didn't even fill it the first time.
No. So on first glance, it looked like Mike was like, "Oh, I'll team up with Nick. I'll team up with Lyrsa. We'll get rid of Angelina. She's awful." But
because they saw how shady that was.
Yes, they really
that
thought
Natalie
it was really
thing, and
shady.
they said if she's willing to do that for a jacket, what will she do for the win? And it's a valid point to point that out.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. But she's a Goliath, and when they got to the reward challenge, the response, I was surprised by this.
I thought people were going to be like, yeah, Natalie's gone, but they now know that it's 7-7. So that's why the Goliaths
and Davids, they were not happy. So what we're led to believe is Mike saw that reaction that they got, that Natalie is gone and that they're even up, and he's like, I can't vote out a Goliath.
I think he was really chicken shit for that.
Yeah. I feel like he should have stood up and gone that way and tried to get.
Now, this is the thing, though. I know he's worried about the Goliath thing, right, and having the numbers. But once you get to the merge, it doesn't matter because that's where people like Mike can outlast, because they're going to go for the wrestling guy. They're going to go for Hot Cop. They're going to go for Alec. Yeah, they're going for the strong people.
And in Mike's situation, I think he could have teamed up with the Davids. But I don't know if the Davids are going to be David Strong, because I feel like Christian is very close to Slamtown and Hot Cop.
He is.
And so would that even be? I don't know. I feel like it would not have hurt him much.
Because you got to remember too, when the Davids were together, Christian was very worried at the beginning that he was going.
Yeah.
I don't know how much loyalty there are throughout the Davids. I think they might just try to stick together to flip somebody. And when they see that they can't flip somebody.
I mean, we even saw that a little bit with the other tribe, with Elizabeth and is Carl his name, and Davey.
Carl,
like they're not all like hunky-dory, cohesive over there. I almost feel like one of the Davids would have gone home if that tribe went to tribal.
Yeah, I think Elizabeth would have been in trouble, who I love. So I'm glad
Yes.
that they were safe.
Yes. So it's really going to be interesting that now that we're at the merge next week, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
The
I
previews
think we're going to
hint,
see
yeah.
some flippage, that's for sure. And I think the only way you're going to get the Davids together is if, there's desperation and they stick together out of desperation.
Well, what's kind of interesting is just based on the preview, one of them, I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was Angelina, wants to gun for Christian. But then Alec, who doesn't even know Christian, like this is all based on the preview, and he's like, oh, you can't do that. I think it's time to get rid of Goliath. So I'm wondering if that's going to put Alec in a precarious position.
That could. Well, here's the thing. If you're going for strength, what do you have in a lot of immunity challenges? Puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you get rid of your best puzzle solver? Do you know what I mean? Like, I like Christian. I hope he lasts, but I mean, he's strong mentally, and he hasn't been that bad on physical challenges either. He hasn't been the worst.
And here's the thing. I feel like we're especially getting this more and more as Survivor goes on. I feel like a lot of these immunity challenges aren't necessarily based on like brute physical strength.
Yeah, you're not just holding up a bucket of rocks.
A lot of them are also endurance.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with holding on to a pole or balancing this and balancing that, sometimes the big, huge, muscular guys are at a disadvantage.
These little skinny guys don't have as much weight to hold up. Yeah, they have skinny arms, but they're not holding up 200 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think Christian would be a smart choice, honestly. And think about the reward challenges too, because this is where they break you down into teams and you go on rewards, and there's a lot of puzzle elements in these rewards too. And if you want to go to a food challenge,
Yes. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens and see who they go for. Remember, we also have several idols out there too. We've got Hot Cop has 2 idols.
Yeah.
Dave, is it Davey or Carl? Davey has one.
Carly has the nullifier. And yes, Davey has one. You're right.
Davey has one. Carl has the nullifier. Does anybody else have?
I thought there was one more.
I feel like there's one more too.
Oh no, there can only be 3 beaches.
Oh, okay.
Right? Am I wrong? Yeah, there was only 3 beaches.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. And of course, the last one was one of the ones that they had to hide at the challenges. I always like when they do that. And it's causing the person to be like, okay, do I go for it?
I felt like Lyrsa, I mean, maybe she'd made her case at camp and she knew she wasn't going to get saved, but I felt like she didn't fight for that win at Tribal Council.
No, and then she seemed all shocked that like Nick voted for her, which I feel like that if that's the way the vote was going, you kind of need to vote.
No, they're not going to draw rocks. 100%. You're not going to draw rocks.
Yeah.
But I just...
Well, especially if you're Nick...
No.
Like the only people that would be able to go home would be Nick or Mike.
Yeah.
And that makes no sense.
Yeah. Although I feel like if they had to draw rocks, I think Mike would have caved because I don't think he has the balls.
No.
You know what I mean? I feel like he would fold.
No. I feel like he needs to have a little more oomph in his game, a little more balls in his game.
Yeah.
Like I don't hate him. I just feel like he's kind of playing a wishy-washy game.
Wishy-washy. I feel like there's a bit of weasel in him, which I don't hate. I don't hate a weasel.
You need a little bit of that to play the game.
Yeah.
But he's not carrying through.
Yeah.
Because he's being wishy-washy.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah. I mean, so far my favorites are still in the game, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
see how they go. We'll see if they continue to be my favorites.
If we look at, you never know with this show.
No, they could turn.
They could Joe you like the Purge.
Yes, they could Joe me.
Christian was an awful person all along.
Yeah.
The only if you look at the pre-merge boots, I'm okay with all of them except I would have been okay if Natalie stuck around a couple more weeks just because I thought she was fun TV.
Do you know what? If she'd made the merge, she would have lasted a lot longer because she wouldn't be people's targets.
No. The only way she would have been target is because nobody would want to live with her.
Yeah, and that's the only reason she went.
Exactly. I love Lyrsa's
she couldn't keep her mouth shut for another 2 weeks. 6 days even.
That's all she needed to do. She would have been she would have lasted all the way to the Cerise spot, Final
People
4.
were going to drag her to the final 3 because who's going to vote for Natalie? She literally didn't pick up a stick. She never made a fire. She didn't cook the rice.
But I don't want any challenges.
No. No one was going to vote for her. She didn't have a social game. She didn't have a physical game. She didn't help out at camp. What the hell?
No, I feel like she's definitely the one
And
that
she didn't
you
have
want
a
to take.
strategic game, so she would have been the perfect goat.
But when Lyris's goodbye message, she's like, "Well, the worst part about this is I now got to go to Ponderosa and hang out with Natalie."
Yeah.
when
Take a
they
plane home, fly home too, Larissa.
Maybe she's the one that left early because no, no, it was a guy that left early, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it was Jeremy. But yeah, those people are now gonna go, and whoever else is booted before the jury, they always go on a pre-jury trip, usually to like Australia, somewhere like
She's like
that.
drunk the whole entire time. Like you
Probably.
have to deal with Natalie.
Oh
But I
God,
can
that
see
would be.
Natalie just being like, I'm gonna just stay in my room or keep to myself too. Like I
I can
don't think
see
she'd
that.
be extremely sociable.
No, no,
Because I think
but
she'd be
yeah,
bitter.
beyond that, I'm okay with all the pre-merge boots so far.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean,
I
like I
feel
said, I
like
never was a fan of Lisa, although I always felt bad that they pointed her out as being so weak. I never really saw her
every
as
single time
weak.
she was
She was
always
slow for
a possible
climbing over
target.
things and stuff, yes, but I mean she went for it. She never gave up.
Yeah.
I don't think she's any weaker than I would say she's stronger than Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think she's much weaker than Angelina. I feel like the only strength they
No.
had on that team was Nick. And Nick's
Yeah.
not the strongest person in the world.
No, but I mean
He
that's
held
bad
his.
for Nick because like he's just a normal average guy, but everything's going to fall on his shoulders. Now, thankfully, he gets to get to the merge. He can blend in
Yeah.
because he's just an average Joe.
Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see. But at the same time, I would say he's probably the most physical of the Davids. I mean, maybe you can
Davey,
point
maybe
to
because we can't
Davey.
really. He's in great shape, Davey,
Yeah.
but we don't know if he can, swim or if he can balance. No, because you get some of these guys, they can't swim or they can't
Or they
balance.
can't balance.
Like
Balance,
who
I
did we
think, is
have?
a
We had
huge
somebody who was
issue.
super strong last year, or the year before, and they literally were horrible at every challenge.
Everything. Oh, I remember
Remember that? We're
that.
like,
I don't
how's this
remember
guy
who
so
it
bad? It was
was.
somebody I liked too, but I'm like, he's horrible at challenges.
Oh, I don't remember, but you're right. They were really
They
bad.
couldn't throw a fucking ball. They couldn't throw a hoop.
But yeah, sometimes the balancing. So it'll be interesting to see who they decide to target, or if they'll even stick on. My least favorite Survivor seasons are the Pagongi seasons. Are the
Yeah.
seasons that the boots are straight down tribal lines,
Yeah.
and that's it. And it does.
I
never
like
change.
when people flip because in my mind, when you get to the final 2 or 3 and you're at the jury and they're saying, what were your big moves? And you're like, well, I just voted with my team. I don't want you to win.
That's
And
not a game. That's
that's
not a
a
game.
game. No, I agree.
And that's
You need to know when to flip. You need to know when to make a big move.
And that's what gets me angry when people get all butthurt and offended by this, because it is a game. You want to get to the end. You need to build a resume. You need to show people why you deserve the money. So that includes big moves. You might have to flip on your teammates and might have to do all these kind of devious things, but that's the game. You should not be offended.
And that's the thing about Survivor is, most of the people, you'll always have somebody who's bitter, which I love. But
Yes.
I mean, most of the people understand that it's a game and you're there to win $1 million. And anything you have to do to get to the end, except for Lil, the Boy Scout troop leader, anything you have to do, you do. You do. That's why Boston Rob was so brilliant at it, because he fucked with people, but half the time they didn't realize he was doing it.
And I will say the Americans are better at that than the international versions I watch.
Oh my God. When I watched the British Celebrity Big Brother, you can't even say you're a game player. People are like, oh my God, you're playing a game. You're playing a game.
New Zealand season 1, it was all about honor and friendship and stay. And if anybody ever switched and turned on people, all of a sudden they were like the evil one. And
well, that's when America voted you out too.
There's this 50-some-year-old lady, and she turned on a couple people, and they pretty much, the entire reunion, they pretty much came down on her the whole time, and they were so mean to her. She was playing she was the only one who played the game.
Yeah.
She should have won. But at least I feel like with this, you do have the bitter people, but most of the time they can get over that.
The Canadian version of Big Brother is a lot like the American. So I would imagine if we had a Survivor in the snow, it would be the same, But we can have a Survivor in the summer. We should get a Survivor.
Yeah.
Put us up north in like some freaking northern place where you can only fly into. And I mean, black flies, come on.
Because you guys have your own Big Brother. You guys have your own Amazing Race.
Yeah,
did you guys have a Bachelor?
Yeah, we have Bachelorette, Bachelor. We have Real Housewives.
Weird that you guys never got a Survivor.
Because I remember they always said that nobody, the climate's just too cold. But I mean, like, in all honesty, You know, in the summer, it's freaking hot.
Would they not have the budget to film overseas?
I mean, I'm sure they could, but I
Because
think it'd
every
be more
other,
interesting, honestly, to do it way
yeah,
up north in some
I
freaking
would
camp
like
where
to
there's
see.
potential of a bear coming into your
I
camp.
would like to see something other than Fiji, something other than a tropical
Yeah,
beach.
that's
That's
why, you
why,
know, people say Australia and
yeah,
Amazon and the outback were interesting, or Africa were
Africa.
interesting because it was different at least.
It gave a different, yeah. I'd be okay. Yeah, I would like to see something like
I
Northwest in
get
the
they're not going
summer.
to do like obviously, you know, Survivor Alaska because, you know, maybe that's too cold. But you could honestly, you could go into the mountains in the Rockies, not even here in Canada. You could do it in
Yeah,
America. There's enough remote places where you can't get to on a road. You don't have to worry about people just wandering into your camp.
I got it. Survivor Area 51.
There you go. Although that's probably got tons of people flying around with drones and
Yeah.
shit. All those crazies.
But yeah, no, I would like something different. But yeah,
We
so
had
it's
our own
still,
top model too. I forgot about that.
oh, wow.
And we had Canadian Idol.
You guys have The Face?
No, we don't
Remember
have
The
the face.
Face?
Yeah, I remember the face.
Canada's Got Talent. Didn't you guys try that? No,
I
not yet.
think so.
I feel like, and of
I
course,
think
Canadian
so.
Idol
Yeah, Canadian Idol. I watched that.
brought us the greatest singer in history, Carly Rae Jepsen.
I thought you were gonna say
Moffat. The
Moffat.
fetus.
Yes.
JD
Yeah.
Bixby.
That's who I was trying to think of. JD Bixby and that Kalen weirdo guy.
Oh yeah, the Kalen weirdo. Yeah. And
Yeah.
wasn't there like Jacob Hoggard or something?
Oh yeah, the
Why do I know
molester.
way too much
He's
about
been in a lot of
Canadian
trouble.
Idol?
He's in the Me Too
Oh.
movement. Apparently, him and I don't know if the band, but mostly him had the young girls backstage doing the naughty stuff too. So he's got trial dates and everything.
Oh my
Kaylin
gosh.
Porter, Sister Patty says. Thank you,
Galen
Sister
Porter,
Patty.
there we go.
Kaylin Porter.
Did he? No, I'm not going to do that joke.
He might have been one of the victims. Yes.
Yeah, no, we'll stick with that.
Let's end it on that. Thanks for listening at our weird
Have a good
times.
week.
Expect another weird time next week if we do a show because, like I said, I'm driving my daughter to dance class. So thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow at 6:30 with Ryan and Arthur. And bye.
See ya.